Hello, hello, hello. My name is Sam, otherwise known as Function, and it is spectacular to be back in the world of Supreme Commander Forge Alliance forever. And no, your eyes do not deceive you. This is, in fact, a 1v1 match-made ladder game on the all-important, the all-famous Setons Clutch. You don't tend to see 1v1s on Setons Clutch. I remember the first FAF game I ever played was on Setons Clutch, and I got absolutely creamed. I was in this position. I played UEF. I built my 4 mexes. I built one land factory, and for about 15 minutes, I happily churned out about one striker every 30 seconds or something. And then by the time my opponent rolled over me, he had already built literally every single mex on the map, except for the 4 that I had built. That was a fun experience. Anyway, these players will clearly be playing much better than me. At the highest rated you can get just about on the 1v1 rankings. We've got Swackle in the red corner playing UEF, sitting at 2131 ladder points. And his opponent, also playing UEF in the blue corner, is Turbo3. Turbo3 has a full point on Swackle in terms of ladder rating, so we know how this game is going to go. But yeah, I am interested to see how this game goes. It's a weird situation. I think there was a little bit of chat between the players earlier on in the match about the fact that they were excited to finally get to play Setons in a 1v1 format, but we've got a very early bomber out from Swackle. He went first air, as you can see, built a bomber immediately. He's going to do what he can to get some engineer kills. Huge miss on that first engineer. Dodges very nicely. I think the most important engineers to get are going to be these ones on the Hydro. If you can delay that Hydro build, you will significantly impact your opponent's ability to improve their economy in the early stages of the game. And clearly this bomber represents a significant expenditure, a significant investment. So you really need to get some use out of it. He's killed 1 engineer so far. I think this Hydro is going to get built. A random engineer over in the top left there gets destroyed. And you can see Turbo starting the march towards the middle of the map. If we hold Control and Shift, we can see the reclaim. Got 15k reclaim on the map available at the start of the game, and almost all of it is right in the middle here. Tons and tons of mass to be collected. So in a 4v4 game, which Setons is of course designed for, you see the forward position players. They build one factory and maybe one power generator or a mex or something, and then start marching towards the center to get that mass. In this game, the players have spent a little bit of extra time in their base as that bomber picks up an extra kill. It is on 3 kills now, so slow work, but it's getting work done. It's actually killed an engineer that had walked quite a long way away from the base, which is always nice. It's going to not pick up that engineer kill, so it sits on 3 kills. Probably not the most impactful of bombers, but we'll see how the next few minutes play out. Looks like Swackle is going to be the first one to get this multitude of mexes built over here. There's about 13 mexes sitting just over here. I'm interested to see who's going to go for the side islands first. There's of course 5 mexes over on the side islands. Also interested to see whether the players will build their main bases on their starting location or build it somewhere safer at the back there, something like that. Yeah, let's take a look. So Turbo 3 reaches the central causeway first, but actually starts building a land factory. You've got an engineer out ahead of the commander there for Swackle. Starts work on one of those pillar wrecks. And the ACU soon to follow. So Turbo clearly going, well, he's actually changed his mind. If we take a look at his mass here, so he was on 0 floated mass. So he's decided to pick up some mass, try and inject something into his economy before he finishes that factory build. But he was going for an early factory build to try and assist his comm in terms of power, by which I mean firepower in the center here. Something exploded somewhere, I didn't see it. We have a wreck, we have a little engineer wreck, I think. Or maybe a scout plane wreck or something like that. Anyway, this is what we're all wondering. Who's going to get the most of the mass in the middle? Who's going to get the most damage on the enemy comm? Swackle going straight to the opposing side of the mass field, claiming those harder to reach wrecks first. He's actually got an engineer already on one of these Salem wrecks, getting a whole lot of mass out of that already. Let's take a look. Hasn't filled up his mass bar yet, but he's in danger of doing so. As that mass total evens out as the ACU stops reclaiming, and Turbo 3 going to go after one of these wrecks. I think these might be Titan wrecks or something like that. 389 mass. I think those are Titan wrecks. Correct me if I'm wrong. These are Salem wrecks at the top, and I wonder if they have their disgusting skeletons. Look at that. Terrible. Terrible. I hate it. Awesome. Swackle using his comm to get those central land unit wrecks, and using a sneaky engineer to get the Salem wrecks. There's 911 mass in each of these wrecks, and Swackle so far gotten 2/3 of that, and Turbo 3 just with his commander at the front in terms of build/reclaim power. Swackle actually taking the worst end of this trade here, going down into the yellow, 8,000 hit points, so going to have to dip into the water. He presumably doesn't mind doing that because he's already got an engineer at the front. He's got a factory built, so despite the fact that Turbo started building a factory first with his commander, he decided to stop the completion of that factory, and Swackle brought some engineers up here to do the same. That was a nice little overcharge there for Turbo, getting a couple of tank kills. Fairly even numbers here, only tanks being built, no artillery, and just as I say that I spot the first Lobo. Lobo's pretty good at killing ACUs. You can of course micro out of the way of them, but if you eat too many artillery shells you will take a lot of damage very quickly. You see Turbo eating one of those shells and going into the yellow there. Switching back to the reclaim party. Got a few engineers up here for Swackle. 5, 6 engineers on the front lines there for Swackle. 0 engineers. Got a few at the back here, just bringing up the rear there for Turbo. Clearly Swackle with more build power in the middle, so able to get more mass. If we take a look at the reclaim values, actually almost, well, yeah, pretty similar. Swackle only 600 mass ahead in terms of reclaim. Total reclaim, Swackle's about 1,000 mass ahead. That's of course rounded to the nearest 1,000, so it's hard to tell the exact numbers. A completely useless overcharge from Turbo 3 there, just kills a dead tank. And another one kills a Lobo, I think. It was already on 2/3 health. So yeah, this would be a great spot for an overcharge there. Overcharge out from Swackle gets 2 kills. Both players happy to just keep taking these trades. Turbo 3 taking the worst of it. He's down to 6,000 hit points. Swackle's still sitting pretty at 9,500. Both players with a single rank of veterancy right now, getting 16 hit points per second back onto those ACUs. Engineers making landfall on the front lines there for Turbo, but Swackle now with significantly more land units by the looks of it, and it looks like he's got more streaming in all the time. T2 mechs already built for Turbo, no T2 mechs for Swackle, so it looks like maybe that's where some of the discrepancy is coming from. A lot of artillery being built by Turbo now, and he's getting a little bit surrounded. This is getting a bit hairy for Turbo now. He's down below 6,000 hit points, so he takes half a Lobo shell. Swackle out of range with this commander though, so potentially not going to be able to punish too hard. Swackle gets a replacement engineer to finish that last Salem reclaim job. Swackle making good ground here. PD's going up at the back here, but those clearly far too far away from this reclaim field to present any danger to Swackle's reclaim operation. A lot of Lobos have been parked on the front lines there for Turbo, and they will get minced by the encroaching strikers from Swackle. Turbo sitting just under 5,000 hit points there, still just backing away. One PD goes up. Looks like the engineers that were building this one have died. This PD going to get a few kills, so making use of that build power there. A radar goes up to assist, and Swackle going to struggle to make any more ground at the minute. He's backing off just a little bit. Turbo 3 notices Swackle's hesitance, so bringing his commander forwards. Still quite a lot of units there. He's still below 5,000 hit points. Close to a rank of veterancy. Just a few more kills will get him that vet. A little bit of bunching up there for Swackle, and given the number of Lobos in Turbo's army, Swackle really does not want to bunch up his units. The AoE from those Lobos will do a hell of a lot of damage to stationary bunched up units. We've actually got T2 out now from Swackle, a parashield coming to the front, the first T2 unit that he's built that I can see, unless he may have built some engineers. No, I think he actually... Oh no, there you go. One T2 engineer starting work on that T2 power generator, but very quickly switched up to the parashields. Not a bad idea, especially when you've got a lot of small units fighting up against AoE damage. The parashields are really good at protecting those units. Tons of engineers at the front here. We've got a T2 engineer who's made it all the way to the front lines and is starting to build a triad. And if we look at the economy, he's power stalling really hard, but he's doing fine on mass. Once this power generator goes up there, you can see he's doing absolutely fine on economy now. So if he gets a little bit more build power on this triad, it'll go very, very quickly. See, Swackle knows that there are PDs here. There's two PDs now, so the radar gets popped by a lone Scorcher. Nice use of the bomber there. At this point in the game, pretty cheap and really effective at killing those radars, so not a bad idea. Radar's very easy to replace, of course, though. There are some interceptors in the area for Turbo. A lot of counter bombers coming out from Turbo, and I've missed the other developments that have been going on, both players dropping on their respective side islands. Looks like Swackle dropped first. Those bombers trying to come across to the cliffs here, but running into a band of interceptors. We've got a bunch, looks like T2 ghetto gunships out for Turbo. Some of them not completely full, but we'll see what he tries to do. Potentially a comm snipe on the cards. Got a significant number of T2 units here. There's about 4 pillars that I can see, 5 pillars, 6 pillars on the front lines there. Parashields bringing up the rear, not making the best use of those units just yet, but straying into range of these PDs, about 150 damage per second on these PDs, so doesn't want to stray into range for too long. Needs to get some flapjacks or mongoose or something like that to outrange these PDs. He's actually just going to go straight forwards as the PDs start working away at those pillars. Gets a few shots into the parashield there. And those ghetto gunships on the move now. A couple of things happening at once. Keep an eye on that ghetto gunship movement over on the mini-map there. I'll switch up to it once they make a landfall. But we've got a big push coming out from Swackle. A couple of triads out for Turbo. That's not how this UI works. Ghetto gunships potentially going for some of the mass down there. Let's actually split. I don't like splitting the screen too often, so my computer gets a little bit confused. It gets a little bit sad, but big push now. A lot of Lobos over here. And those ghetto gunships, actually dropping those mech marines off, going for the mass. 2 of those ghetto gunships make landfall. One of them at the back here, potentially going to drop those units, and you can see the units on the left-hand side here for Swokkel getting in and causing a nuisance. They haven't actually managed to kill this T2 power generator. That would be a significant win for Swokkel, I think, but as it stands, they don't really manage to get too much done, except for dump a bunch of mass on the front there. Did kill those triads, but those will get reclaimed in quick order as this ghetto gunship goes down to interceptors over on the right-hand side, to well-placed... sorry, what was I saying? The ghetto gunship goes down to well-placed interceptors on the right-hand side. I think I'm getting confused. There's too many things going on. I'm repeating myself. But Swokkel, with that, he's got a dropout, actually. Or maybe those units... Yeah, I think those were units that just carried on past. They are going to walk into a T1 PD. I don't think they will get too much more done. But T2 upgrade on the air side of things coming out for Swokkel. We did see T2 air already for Turbo. Is Swokkel, did I see that right? Is he going straight? He is going straight for T3 air. You can see on the bottom left side there of the screen, the T3 air HQ queued up. And T3 air started already for Turbo, so he is ahead. It started T2... Navy, I think. T2 Navy completed, sorry, for Turbo. We haven't been focusing on the ponds too much. Not too much has been going on. Looks like Swokkel tried to drop some units, including some engineers down over on this side island, but counter drop or maybe even an edge build there for Turbo clears those out in quick order. Armies coming face to face again in the middle. Still got tons of T1 artillery. We've got a bit of a PD/shield creep coming out for Swokkel as he tries to claim more and more land. Completely sucked up all the mass. If we take a quick look at the reclaim, he's about 7,000 ahead in terms of reclaim, and so I'm trying to do quick mass, about 8,000 ahead in total mass. You can see he's put a lot of that mass straight into his economy. He's about 30 mass per tick ahead. Well, maybe more like 10 or 20 mass ahead of his opponent. In terms of generated eco, there's a significant mass field developing here, though. We've got about 2,000 mass. Neither player clearly taking control of the mass field. Swokkel trying to push forwards, but he is getting into range of those triads now. 5 of them already built. Shield generator going online and a clink hammer soon to follow. We have T2 land. We've got T2 engineers. Lots of T2 engineers. I think those are probably just from the... Yeah, actually, no, we do have T2 land, actually. I stand corrected. And one of those triads goes down. Actually, I think that's the... No, that is the first one to go down. We've still got 4 at the back here. But another big push coming out from Swokkel. If he can take control of some of this mass field, he can re-inject those lost units back into his economy. You can see he's got frontline engineers. Absolutely love to see this. If you closely follow your units behind with engineers, you can make really, really good use of that lost mass. These are actually Sparkies. I knew I could hear some weird gun that you don't usually hear. I thought it sounded a bit like a Riptide, but it's actually, these are Sparkies. Those beefy T2 field engineers that UEF have access to. They have a gun, they have lots of hit points, but they are only able to build offensive and defensive structures like triads, clink hammers, and buzzkills and that sort of thing. They're not able to build any factories, or I don't think they're able to build mexes. I'm not sure about shield generators. Just as I say that, they start building one, so they can build shield gens. And that push repelled for Swokkel there. A Titan on the front lines there. No shield. Swokkel potentially having power troubles. Yes, he's stalling really hard now. Got a lot of battlefronts to fight on. A couple of small naval engagements going on now on either side of the pond. He's got some Percival or 2 reaching the front lines now. No T3 land as yet for Turbo. Still cranking out those underappreciated field engineers. And looks like there were, I think these decals here you can see, I think those were the sites of T2 power generators. So still got T2 power gens at the back, building a third one, but looks like that push did get some damage done there for Swokkel. A ton of naval factories going down for Turbo. So you're moving in, trying to prevent Swokkel from getting a foothold in the Navy. Something village people reference. Swokkel with the significantly greater economy for the time being. So Turbo knows that if he just allows his opponent to build up naval units, he will lose control of the ponds, so he needs to be aggressive, prevent his opponent from getting a foothold, and once you've completely lost control of a pond like this, it's very, very difficult to re-establish a presence. So that is Turbo's game plan for now. He's doing very well on the right-hand side, not so well on the left-hand side. Significant presence there for Swokkel already. Both with T2 Navy. We've got a Bulwark out for Swokkel, a Governor, and we've got a couple of Coopers, shield, the torpedo boats for Turbo, and Turbo's comm is, well, I was going to say a significant amount of danger, but he's getting a little bit of a push on him, but so you're doing very well at staying nice and healthy, sitting above 13,000 hit points there. 2 ranks of vet, nearly at a third one. Some very far forward engineers going pop there for Swokkel. You can see, though, clearly an absolute ton of wrecks before over in this area, and Swokkel has gotten all of that mass back into his economy. It's actually only 4,000 mass ahead now, so Turbo actually getting a decent amount of mass himself. I think all of the units that pushed and died in the middle here, their wrecks have gone into Turbo's coffers. A little bit of a side push, run by, whatever, for Swokkel here, or an attempt. He's actually not going to go too far. A couple of Titans parked up there. I think we saw a firebase going up, yeah, so 3 clink hammers, sorry, and a 4th one being built. We've got spearheads coming out, so Swokkel in full siege mode. Turbo trying to defend. We know from one of the duelist science videos, as we see a bit of a run by go on, that if you're in terms of fire bases, T2 artillery, very good defensive structures, but not mass efficient if you're trying to assault an opponent's firebase. So I think Swokkel would better spend his mass on spearheads rather than clink hammers over on the front here. Maybe he's just trying to maintain control of the mass field to the front here. I'm not too sure, but Titans tried to push forwards. They actually have gone into the back there, maybe going for some of the back mexes here. You can see they've all been upgraded to T2 now. There's a lone T1 mex over here, a few dotted around over here, but mostly T2 economy, so those Titans may be able to get something done, but a lot of Scorchers overhead, and those spearheads getting into range, 3 of them on the front lines there. No shield coverage for them though, so the clink hammers could quite easily kill them. See, spearheads able to dish out a lot of missiles very quickly. And not a lot in the way of buzz kills actually. Can you see any buzz kills here? I don't see any buzz kills for Turbo. Those Titans still firing away, one going down to a T1 PD, another PD at the back here, may be able to get that second Titan. Got a bit of Governor warfare going on the left hand pond there. We've actually got T3 air out for Swokkel now, so he's made the jump to T3 as well. T3 has been available to Turbo for a while, but mostly just seeing him pumping out Scorchers. So Turbo very much on the back foot here. You can see he's building all these defensive structures. Now he started work on buzz kills. See a bunch of them being spammed up by the Sparkies there. Sparkies are very cool. If you've ever played any of the XCOM games, they look a bit like the drones that you can get in XCOM. Really, really good set of games, the XCOM. And Strap Bomber over in the back. No ASFs, one ASF rolls off the bat there for Turbo, but the Intercept is actually able to Kill that strat bomber. I don't know if this was the strat bomber or governors or something like that. I'm guessing it was strat bombers. Although maybe it was even a drop and a factory build for Swackle. I'm sorry I missed that, but this was definitely the work of a strat bomber. And over on the left hand side, significant naval units being built up by both players. Swackle still moving forwards with engineers. I think this is even more neglected than regular reclaim, is naval reclaim. So really nice to see a lot of mass. Although I say that naval wrecks, they're only worth 50% of the mass that went into building the unit. Land units give 80% of their mass back in their wrecks. Naval units only 50%. But because naval units are so expensive, still worth getting those wrecks reclaimed. You can see all those spearheads, those clink hammers getting work done on Turbo's firebase here. I say firebase, it's basically his main base really, isn't it? You can see a Valiant firing away at the frigates there over on the left hand side. Over on the right hand side, looks like basically zero naval presence. Yeah, zero naval presence for Swackle, except for 3 frigates over here trying to do something, hide, I guess. But we've got T2, and I think that is a governor being built there for Turbo. I get confused between the blueprints of a governor and a Valiant. It is a governor, that makes much more sense than a Valiant, but yeah, potentially going to start spamming out those missile ships, get them into the middle causeway, and start assisting the defense initiative for Turbo there. Take a quick look at the economies. Swackle 60 mass per tick ahead. So only 20k mass ahead in terms of total mass. Only about 10% ahead of his opponent. So certainly not insurmountable there for Swackle. Still a few T1 mexes dot around for both players. But clearly all of the focus going onto the front lines here. Some of those spearheads have been killed. How much mass is in those? 267 mass in those wrecks, so not too expensive to build those units. They are very niche, but yeah, we've got 6 spearheads that I can see on the front lines there now. Associated parashields, keeping them safe, sort of. But there they go. Buzzkills doing their best. Do Buzzkills one-shot a spearhead missile? I've got to assume they do. Yeah, it would be weird if they didn't, honestly. Oh, shields just flicker on, and that would have been nasty. A bunch of parashields, I think, might have gone pop to that single clink hammer shell, and that would have been really nasty for Turbo there. He's put a lot of mass and effort into getting those parashields up. Does not want to lose those units. Spearhead's moving forwards. Engineers still trying to move onto this right hand side as they go pop to the AoE damage of Triads. And Ravagers now being built by the T3 engineers that Turbo has available to him. No T3 engineers, I don't think, on the front lines for Swackle. Presumably he has some in his base. I can't see any T2 engineers anymore. He's got T2 on the commander, of course. Can't see any T2 engineers, just T1, which is fair. Much cheaper. If all you're doing is reclaiming, then T1 engineers are definitely the way to go. The assaulting units just trying to kind of poke away at the defences, but I think possibly a critical mass of defensive structures has been built for Turbo. It's going to be very hard for Swackle to assault this position now. As shields flicker on and off. Got that governor that was built earlier. It's gotten over onto the bottom left there, firing away at some of the T1 mexes that Swackle built for himself, firing at something in the middle. So someone needs to redirect those missiles on the governor there. Ravager firing away now, yeah, so I think Swackle deciding to cut his losses. Units that he smashes into this brick wall are going to be very difficult for him to recover. So he doesn't want to waste the mass. That said, he's now moving forwards again, so maybe I should just stop trying to predict what these players are going to do. A whole lot of Scorchers out, and the Governors with no AoE anti-air ability. The Scorchers are one of the best ways to deal with them, actually. Ooh, but that is the problem. Torpedoes, once they hit the water, they will go straight for their target. But Scorcher bombs, they will just land wherever, and with good micro, Turbo certainly has that. He's able to save that Governor on basically full health. So maybe I'm chatting absolute garbage about Scorchers being a good way to kill Governors, but you'd see a bunch of T2 mechs now in jeopardy over here. No T2 engineers or anything to build bud kills, so that Governor will get a lot of work done, I think. See more missiles being fired by those spearheads, I think. But the defense is resting now for Turbo. Something lawyer joke. Swackle eases back on the pressure. Take a look at the mass incomes. Swackle still sort of 50 mass ahead now per tick, and about 30k mass total, so he is continuing to improve his lead, and he gets T3 Navy available. He starts work on a Neptune. Neptune, extremely good at killing naval units. Doesn't have the range that the Summit has, but I think the Neptune has better DPS, and it's clearly got perfect accuracy and cheaper to build. So if what you're trying to do is kill naval units, then you want to be building Neptunes. A bunch of ASFs go over, I think, on a scouting mission. Swackle deciding that he's done with those units now. He's got ASFs on the field. He doesn't need the interceptors, so sends them on a suicide scouting mission. See, Governor's over here. I don't think it was that one, because that has like no kills. Do we see a Governor wreck anywhere? Surely it wasn't that one that's killed all of these mexes. It's only got one kill. Oh, it's got a bunch more kills now, but I don't know. Maybe it's a different Governor. Maybe something about AoE causes it not to get credit for those kills, I'm not sure, but a little bit of an air engagement as Turbo loses the few ASFs that he has. A few more at the back here. I don't think either player going for strap bombers or anything like that. Turbo continuing to put on the pressure with Scorchers. Not too much in the way of APMs required to send those Scorchers on a bit of a nuisance causing mission. They're cheap to build, and they soak up some of Swackle's precious APMs to get those ASFs out. We see some Storks on the move. 5 T2 torpedo bombers out for Swackle. I wonder what the idea is here. Potentially going to go for the naval production. They seem to be going straight forwards. I'm not really sure why. There's not a whole lot of navy to kill up there. No important navy, certainly just a few frigates. Looks like they are going for the frigates. And they turn away just at the end there. A bunch of engineers on a reclaim order. They haven't been told that there's no more reclaim to be had. So just waiting to die. Very, very sad. Frigates actually have AoE damage. I did not know that. Engineers a little bit too spread out now for the AoE damage to do anything, but you saw before AoE damage from those frigate shells. Torp bombers tried to come in to defend against the Governors. Excuse me. There were at least 2 Governors on the field, and now there's only 1, so those Torp bombers able to get a little bit of work done. 3 more Torp bombers coming out. I'm not sure how many Torp bombers it takes to one-shot a Governor. That's basically the idea. You need to really one-shot it. Looks like 2 torp bombers got their missiles off there, their torpedoes, I suppose. I think 3 torp bombers is what you need to one-shot a governor by the looks of it. That is good knowledge. As the Neptune gets up to the front lines here, it needs to get under the coverage of the shield boat, I would say. That's a very significant mass investment. Let's actually take a look at the numbers. You can see that I finally turned off my idle engineers mod, so we don't have those ugly 1s and 2s running around. But where am I being stupid? Oh, it's over there. 7,000 mass goes into each one of these Neptune battle cruisers. But now that it's on the front lines, it'll be able to do a lot of work, and it is being supported by frigates, Valiants, bulwarks, even a couple of governors in there to protect it from the skies. We can see Swakkel well and truly taking his foot off the gas in terms of that frontal assault that he was keeping up. And Mex is being rebuilt and redestroyed over on the bottom here, but Stork's coming out to finish off that last cruiser that was there. If you've only got 1 cruiser at a time, they are actually very vulnerable to torpedo bombers. If you've got a few cruisers, it can be very, very difficult to take them out from the skies. We can see nice naval push coming out over here. Nuke silo actually completed for Swakkel. Do we have any nuke defense? There it is. So nuke defense completed. A lot of build power on that structure, so I suspect Turbo will be safe from nuclear attacks, but Swakkel continuing, of course, this naval engagement going forwards, and the naval HQ there actually, so if that goes down, there's no HQ over on the right hand side, so if that HQ up here goes down, then Turbo 3 will completely lose access to T2 naval tech, so we won't be able to produce governors over on the right hand side here unless he builds a new HQ. Do we see any more? We do see another battle cruiser. I was wondering if Swakkel would switch up to Summits. Battle cruiser is extremely good at killing other naval units, but the Summits, those chunky battleships, much better at killing land-based units and structures. But still producing battle cruisers by the looks of it. Let's actually look at it here. Producing a bunch of governors currently. Because of the way that naval units are able to clip through each other without any collision, it's generally very good to just have tons and tons of T1 NGs supporting naval factories. In terms of mass to build power ratio, T1 engineers are the best engineers. The problem is there's so damn many of them, so they turns into a bit of a bumper car scenario. So if you've got too many of them, then units struggle to get out, and it significantly slows down your unit production, but not the case for Navy. And the naval production pretty much decimated now for Turbo. So I guess that Swakkel is going to start bringing those governors forwards. We did see stop production of T3 Navy altogether. He's just producing governors out of that T3 factory. So he's going to start working away at these mexes. You can see 4 here, 1 here, 1 here, and a 7th one up here. Maybe an 8th one up here. Yeah, that one's definitely in range of governor fire. So a lot of economy in range of missiles there, and you can see the exact same thing happening over on the right hand side. Built up, it's got 2 governors out, 3rd one coming up, so not exactly a critical mass, but much easier to defend themselves now, now that there's more than just one of them. We've got a drop actually coming out from Turbo. Just engineers there, so potentially going for, I'm not sure if this is a reclaim build. Sorry, a reclaim order or a build order coming out. keep an eye on that. A little bit of a lull, so actually going to speed things up. I think both players just working away at their economies, working away at potential game enders, something like that. Those engineers do make landfall, and a whole row of T1 factories get spammed up there for Turbo. So that is the plan, it seems, going to try to go for that backdoor effect. Governors actually starting to fire on the main base of Turbo here. Got a whole ton of buzzkills have been built, firing away at those cruise missiles as they come in. Shield generators come online. Turbo really, really quite keen not to lose this T3 power, and I can understand why. Down the bottom here, some cruisers trying to start firing away at Swackle's base. He's got fewer buzzkills, but there are fewer governors. And actually a whole bunch of buzzkills over at the front here. And Clinkhammers, actually. Clinkhammers will outrange governors. I believe Seraphim missile ships outrange T2 artillery, but UEF missile ships do not. The DPS output of UEF missile ships is better, but like I say, their range is lower, so Clinkhammer's very good at defending against UEF Navy. And the plan over here has been spotted. A bunch of ASFs come out, but looks like the damage is done. The engineers have made landfall. They've already built 4 factories, a 5th one about to come online. Currently spamming out more engineers to produce more factories, to produce more engineers. Stop me if you've heard this one before. A secondary line of factories going up, so really, really committing to the spam game. I would guess that he's going to mostly produce Lobos out of there, just to go for that structural DPS capability. We do have a new T2 HQ has been built over here for Turbo, so producing governors at a rapid clip. Actually, there's I guess no, yeah, there's quite a lot of them. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 governors out on the field now for Turbo on the right hand pond. And going for that central base, do we have... Is that what the commander is? No, the commander for Swackle is all the way at the back here. And starting work on a Novax as he fires the first nuclear missile. Let's see where this is going to go. And not going for the base, which is a good plan by the looks of it. We've got... we did see that missile defense. You can see it's got one... defensive missile locked and loaded. Looks like it's... I was thinking it might go for the economy over here, but it's actually going for the naval production, and this is a terrible thing to see. Just a whole bunch of civilian production units, and they're trying to run away from the inevitable blast zone as that nuclear bomb comes down and kills, I think, literally every single one of those engineers. No, one gets away and a few more being built as we speak, but that's not a bad use of a nuke, especially if the enemy has got nuke defense available to them. And you can see the spam has well and truly started over here for Swackle. Titans being brought up to defend for Swackle. Sorry, the spam started for Turbo, Titans for Swackle. Actually focusing on striker production, so I was wrong about that, and you can see the work that Lobos are able to do against stationary targets. That Titan gets the move order, starts running away from that that arcing fire. Gonna be able to kill this Titan before its shield comes back on. Oh no, the shield comes back online, so 700 hit points back for free for that Titan. You can see the 10 or so cruisers, the governors that Turbo had managed to amass before his naval production got completely wiped off the map, firing away at the forward position and the stationary units that Swackle has on the causeway here. And a bunch of drops out for Swackle, those Continentals, laden with the first one laden with engineers, mostly T1s, but a couple of T3s there, and just a ton of Lobos on the second one. I can't remember what the carrying capacity, 28 Lobos on that second Continental, and you can see the oh no, I was going to say the I was thinking the shield would prevent that Continental from dying, but too many ASFs, that's a lot of ASFs, so all of those Lobos do actually die, and it's just engineers now. They're starting work on factories and anti-air defenses, but mech marines have been spammed out. You see a just tirade of mech marines being built for turbo there, and there are no PDs there for Swackle, so I think all of these engineers will be popped in short order. But really nice work being done from this drop site that Turbo's managed to secure for himself. A few of those factories going down, a whole lot of wrecks, defensive units having to be built, but all of these T1 units that are getting built for Swackle, they will try and defend the forces, the territory over on this southern right hand side. As you can see, a whole flock of Storks working away at those governors. But like I say, these defending land units, once they clear out, if they clear out this this drop site, those land units will be basically useless, and Turbo will have soaked up a lot of Swackle's build power and APMs and all of that loveliness. So this drop site will not stay forever, I don't think, but it will have gotten a lot of work done. You can see that's a fuck ton of Storks going for governors there. And over on this side, we've still got a lot of governors for Swackle, and you can see the first summit has been built for the red player. See those huge, proper World War II style naval cannons. Very, very cool. Yeah, nice, look at that. I think those shells look like they have the same models as the Fat Boy shells, and a T3 air factory about to go pop. No shield coverage for this air factory. That is horrendous. Novak's actually done for Turbo. I didn't see him start that. I saw Swackle's be started, and he's just about to have it completed. We do have a nuke locked and loaded for Swackle as well. On a map like this, where all the economy is so spread out and a lot of it is going to be T2 or even T3, Novaks can be wildly useful. I've actually got broadswords built now for Swackle to defend against the drop site. And that nuke going to come out. Where is it going to go? I can see the ping it's going. We've got a T2 naval factory has been built for Turbo to replace the one he lost, and a bunch of engineers, not quite as many as before, but a lot of engineers have been assigned to produce governors, and they heard the stories, these engineers. They didn't quite believe it. They heard the horror stories of nuclear armaments being used on entirely civilian populations, an absolute disgrace. They heard the stories, they didn't believe it, and now it is about to become a reality for them. I don't think they know what's coming for them. As we can see on the minimap, that nuke coming overhead. They haven't even got a move order. The sirens aren't even wailing. The first thing they're going to know about the nuke is the hellfire that it produces as it melts their faces off. Terrible. But Novak satellites coming across the water. Turbo flying his across. I can't see Swackle's. He's actually still got it in the base, so the move order not come out from that Novak satellite. About 28,000 mass required to produce one of those satellites, so a significant investment, and Swackle just sitting his in base, and there we go, the move order comes across. Terrible. Terrible. You hate to see it, you really do. Another summit rolling off the production line. Looks like Swackle actually easing up on Governor production. He's killed all of the, what did we say, 8 mexes. Actually, this one possibly out of range, so 7 mexes killed for Swackle there by Governors, and it's difficult for him to kill much more. We can kill these 3 over on the top there, but they are just T1 at the minute. We saw another, is that a second Novax? It is a second Novax built for Turbo, so committing to the Novax spam like a true gentleman, or whatever the opposite of an honourable person is. I'm not going to say it because I don't want Turbo to hurt me, but coward is the word. Novax, terrible. I suppose we have had nuclear armaments being used on civilian populations from one side, so Novax spam from the other side is about what Swackle deserves, I think. But looks like Turbo going for the T2 mexes at the back here. What's Swackle planning on doing? Has he spotted the Novax site back here? I think that's what he's going for. There are a lot of T3 mexes back here. Potentially that's what Swackle's going to go for with his Novax, and a different move order comes out. Oh no, it keeps getting redirected, so I'm not sure what it wants to do. Going for the power storage, that's not a bad idea. Can one-shot that whole line. Very high splash damage on those power storages once they go pop. Not sure this is the best idea. A single Novax is going to find it extremely difficult to get through multiple T3 shield generators that Turbo's managed to build up. As long as Turbo keeps the lights on, which it looks like he will be able to do, this Novax will not get a whole lot done. On the other side, 2 Novaxes actually doing the same thing, so going for that nuke launcher by the looks of it, as it gets one more nuke locked and loaded. The third nuke coming out. Let's see whether that's going to go. No T2 Navy rebuilt for Turbo, so no obvious. Actually going straight for the center. Oh no, I missed the nuke defense going down. My guess is that it was killed by the summits. We saw that we saw shield generators flickering on and off over here, so obviously that happens all over the map. So I think the shield generators flickered off at just the wrong time, and a few summit shells got in and destroyed that nuke defense. It's been rebuilt, but no missile loaded for that defensive structure, and Turbo's main base gets absolutely decimated. See a lot of T3 mexes go pop, all of the T3 power generators that were in the area, all the T3 factories. Terrible. That's not a good sight, and the land push comes out immediately. All of the defensive structures actually still alive there for Turbo, and I think after Swackle stopped his land push, he didn't really build a whole lot more land units. So although the summit's now firing away, is Turbo having power difficulties? He is, so these shield generators are not able to do anything whatsoever. Novax over here has actually switched up to destroying the T3 mexes at the air position back here. It hasn't noticed that the shields are flickering off, so not going for the opponent's Novaxes just yet. Novaxes over here still going for the Novax site that Swackle built, and going for this T3 power generator that is actually just outside of shield range. Looks like the Novaxes managed to kill one of these shields here. A shield replacing it, popping online. So that shield, that power generator going to remain by the looks of it. Broadswords coming overhead to assist this push. It's a decent number of Percivals. You've got 3 Ravagers, and Ravagers will do a lot of damage. ASF's coming out now to clean out those broadswords. No defensive ASFs close enough for Swokkel, so we'll lose all 3 of those broadswords. Where is the ACU? Turbo's ACU here, so going for the water, doesn't want to risk getting sniped by broadswords. Clearly that opens him up to a stalk snipe, but less worried about that apparently, and a significant air engagement over Turbo's old base here. Looks like Turbo getting the better of it, and Swokkel seeing that and then actually retreating with those ASFs. 2 T3 mexes have been killed by this Novax over here. A few stalks coming out, potentially hunting for that comm. He wasn't parking in the water, he was just going for his secondary base that he's built up over here. It's hard to see how Turbo is going to come back from this. All those Ravagers that were here have gone down. A couple of Triads have been built up, but those will be paltry in comparison to the numbers of tanky Percys coming through for Swokkel. Lobos being spammed out, desperately trying to defend. Won't be enough. You can see the range on the summit there, able to fire from here all the way to about here. Just speed things up a bit. Tons of Scorchers being built for Turbo. Starting a nuke silo, so do we have nuke defense out for Swokkel? We do. It's got a missile loaded in, so I don't think Turbo's going to be able to win via the nuclear route unless he gets some crazy snipe. Let's see, a lot of their Scorchers coming in overhead. A lot of them have died already. To the flat 24 kills, 5 ranks of veterancy on this Skyboxer. This one getting similar numbers. So Scorcher's trying to defend, but sorry about that slight glitch in the programming. There's some construction next door, so I had to stop the recording and then find my place again. So here we are, the little run by. Oh, little is a bit harsh, it's a big run by, I guess. By the Percival's, Skyboxes and Lobos up at the top. I did have some of those broadswords getting work done on these T3 mexes. I think the broadswords got these 2 by the looks of it. And then the Novax satellite got the other 4. I think you can tell just by where the decals are and the fact that one of these mass storages is dead. The Novax doesn't kill the mass storages. The splash damage is not very wide at all. Looks like a drop here. You can see the Continentals returning to base. A drop of a bunch of Lobos. Like we saw before, each one of those Continentals can carry up to 28 T1 units, so potentially 56 Lobos. We're dropped over here. We've also got engineers moving forwards. Where are they going? Oh, some weird assist order over here. I don't know what that's about. Turbo actually moving his comm with a transport. He's got a Continental of his own, lifting his comm out of there, away from those Percivals. He's got a bank of Ravagers in his base. He's actually going for that nuke silo that we saw earlier, putting a lot of build power on that. We've got we do have that nuke defense with 3 missiles loaded now, and that will clearly cover. You can, if we have a look at the range on that thing, where did it go? There it is. So clearly no nuke that travels from this side of the map will be able to get to this little base. Unless there's some sort of snipe on the cards, and I can't see that coming out from Turbo here. Not able to get his opponent's comms. Swokkel is just redirecting those Percivals and Lobos over to some more mass production capabilities. Just make sure that Turbo has no way back into this game. He's actually 75% complete on another Novax, but oh, it's power storage that he's struggling with. That's oh no, in fact it's build power. He doesn't have enough build power to spend his income. He's got 220 income But the shields flickered off for a second there, and the one Novax that Sokol has available to him actually making it through with one of its shots, getting the kill on this T3 air factory. These Lobos and Percival's making landfall on this final defensive location for Turbo. We've got another experimental unit. My guess is, yeah, another defense satellite. Novax there for Swokkel. Not much else really to spend his mass on that's going to be super useful. We've actually got our nukes out here. Surely that's not the... I don't know what this little bar is actually. Oh, these... I think it looks like it's got TAC missiles or something. It's going for these structures over here. Yeah, looks like it does about the same amount of damage as a normal tactical missile launcher, and a bunch of Lobos being dropped directly into Turbo's little base over here. Oh, just about manages to get those Lobos off, and those will absolutely demolish the structures. Well, I say that, they get one volley off, they destroy some shields. I'm not sure if it was the Lobos or if it was the Novax or what it was that destroyed the nuke defense structure here, but I think that will be the final nail in the coffin for Turbo. Are we going to see a nuclear launch? My guess is that that's how Sokol will end it, although he's got a whole bunch of T1 and T3 units in the area that you could potentially end the game with as well. Let's just speed things up. Just get through this last little bit. I think we can all see where this is going. A whole bunch of torp bombers just to defend against the frigate spam that Turbo is pumping out. I think probably best to, if you had any hope of staying in this game, you would want to pause all those factories and pump all the eco into whatever you're trying to get done over here. Oh, in fact, it was the nuke launcher that that got destroyed. The nuke defense is still alive and well with 2 defensive missiles loaded in, but those land units that did a big wheel around the little nook there in the mountains coming to attack this final base. Just slow it down a touch. Novax satellites destroying the rest of the T3 P-gens, and the Ravager's actually getting a lot of work done defending here. Turbo not giving up, he's fighting to the very, very bitter end. It is a Setons game after all, you want to make the most of your time here. Novax satellite about to go down. Ooh, it actually stays alive, there's not too many land units left for Swokkel. Turbo actually going to succeed in elongating this game for a little bit longer. There is one Percival at the back here, but clearly that's a range of all the Triads and Ravagers that are still knocking about. The Novax does actually go down in the end there. Turbo spamming up more shield generators. I think. And actually starting a Mavor Swokkel, but looks like Turbo may be about to throw up the GG. He's lost all of his Novax satellites, he's lost everything. Lost everything. Anything he can really build now is Mech Marines. He's still, wow, he's still got 200 income, which is pretty impressive. There we go. Throwing up the GG and the Control K to finish out the game. So, thanks for watching everyone, a nice long one. Sorry about the little blip in the last 5 minutes there. But yeah, fun game. Tell me what you think. How could Turbo have finished? What was his major mistake that led to his demise? Just tell me about your day. Anyway, thanks for watching. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.